Hi, I'm Christy, and I'm 15 years old. I'm more of a night person, so I pretty much stay up very late. This is why my sleep schedule is so messed up. I usually go to bed around 3 to 5 a.m. Sometimes I don't even sleep at all. But this experience changed everything for me. It was 4 a.m. one night when I was watching my favorite series. I just turned off the TV and went to bed. Suddenly, I started getting chills for no reason. I just brushed it off and thought it was just me being cold. But then I started hearing very strange noises coming from my window, like a very slow tapping. I got scared and I didn't want to check, so I just closed my eyes thinking everything would just go away. But unfortunately it didn't. It became louder and a bit faster. I just turned away from the window and hoped that everything would be over soon. But suddenly, I felt a very heavy breathing in my ear. I got so scared, but I wouldn't even dare to open my eyes. I just pretended to be asleep. I started sweating heavily and trembling a bit too. I passed out right after. I woke up the next day thinking about everything that happened that night was just a dream. Suddenly, I felt a sharp pain in my leg. When I looked down, I saw scratches all over them, as if a creature with sharp nails tried to claw me. I didn't bother telling my mom because I knew that she wouldn't believe me even if I showed her the scratches. I didn't tell anyone about the incident, and when they asked about my leg, I would just tell them I accidentally fell off my bike. But I can't help but wonder, what was that thing that breathed in my ear, and what were those tapping noises? I still have no explanation for everything that happened, but one thing I know is that I won't go to bed late anymore. Some of you might not believe me, but that's okay. I wouldn't believe me either, but I can't help but wonder, what would have happened if I opened my eyes? Would I be dead?
When I was a junior in college, I used to work at a graveyard that's pretty famous for ghost sightings. I was 18 at the time, doing extra work to pay for college. I was with another coworker who was telling me she was having issues with her husband and her kids, just talking about how bad her life was going. She was mopping the floors, and I was taking out the trash from the hallway. The hallway was very long, and after hours the lights would turn off. I picked up a few bags and took them outside to the parking lot area to throw them in the big dumpsters. I'm pretty short, so I had to climb a ladder to dispose of the trash. When I turned around to go back to the building, I saw my coworker holding the mop, looking out towards me. And above her, there was this smoke-like cloud. It was gray and translucent. I immediately felt the hairs on the back of my neck rise and a big node in my gut. As I was walking towards the entrance of the building, I heard a whisper behind me. I couldn't make out what it said, and that feeling in my gut was getting worse. I rushed inside and locked the door behind me. I took a minute to breathe and called my coworker to see if she was done. I looked for her, but only found the bucket and mop in the middle of the hallway, as if she just dropped everything and left. I then called my supervisor to tell her that I couldn't find my coworker, and it seemed that she just suddenly left the building. I never saw her again. It's been 6 years since that incident, and I still remember that night. And I'm still curious about what could have made my coworker drop everything and leave in the middle of the night.
Hello everyone, my name's Kali, and I'm 18 years old. I have light fuchsia hair and brown eyes. But what I'm going to tell you happened 7 years ago. I had brown hair then. Back then, my precious grandpa had been sick for quite some time, and at last he came to rest. I was heartbroken, but my granny was worse. Since my grandparents lived alone, we moved in with her to ease her fear of an old woman being alone in a big house. Me and my brother shared the same bedroom, which was next to my grandpa's room, and his room was taken by my grandma. Some days passed, things were finally starting to feel normal until one certain night. I used to sleep early, since I was an 11-year-old student, but sometimes I woke up in the middle of the night to drink some water, and I was fully awake. It was always scary because it was too dark and quiet, but Grandma's snoring always broke the silence. That night, though, something very strange happened. I got up, drank some water from the bottle I have next to my bed, and out of the blue, instead of Granny's snoring, I heard Grandpa's. At first I was startled, but I thought I might have misheard. But no, since I was fully awake, I got up and stood next to my bed. I even slapped my cheeks. Yes, it was Grandpa's usual loud snoring. Now you'll think, how do I know whose snoring that was? Both my grandparents were snoring when I was sleeping with them, so I know it very well. I got so scared that moment and I started praying. I looked at my brother next to my bed and I calmed a bit, but the snoring didn't stop. There was no way I was going to check on it, so I went to sleep. Next morning, I told my mother what I had experienced, but of course she said I was probably half asleep. Even if she didn't believe me, I knew she would eventually since she had an experience of her own when she was younger. Anyways, I'm not sure what I heard that night, but it still bothers me to this day.